In an age defined by constant connectivity, endless streams of information, and rapidly shifting realities, critical thinking has never been more essential. Every day, we encounter news headlines, social media posts, advertisements, and conversations that challenge our assumptions and shape our perceptions. But how often do we pause to ask, is this true? Is it reliable? What's the evidence? Critical thinking is the disciplined process of actively analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing information in order to reach well-reasoned conclusions. It goes beyond simply accepting facts at face value or relying on intuition. Instead, it demands curiosity, skepticism, and the willingness to change one's mind when confronted with new evidence. In today's world, mastering critical thinking is not just an academic exercise, it's a survival skill. 1. Understanding the information landscape. Our digital environment is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, we have unprecedented access to knowledge. On the other, misinformation and disinformation proliferate. Anyone with an internet connection can publish a claim, share a sensational story, or manipulate images and videos. Algorithms, designed to maximize engagement, often amplify the most provocative content, regardless of its accuracy. This environment creates a perfect storm for confusion and deception. False narratives can spread faster than corrections. Opinions masquerade as facts. And people retreat into echo chambers that reinforce pre-existing beliefs. Critical thinking acts as an antidote, equipping us with the tools to navigate this terrain with discernment and clarity. 2. Core components of critical thinking. At its heart, critical thinking involves 5 core components. Questioning, continually asking questions about the source, context, and credibility of information. Analyzing, breaking down complex ideas into their constituent parts to understand relationships and underlying assumptions. Evaluating, assessing the strength of evidence, the validity of arguments, and the reliability of sources. Synthesizing, integrating diverse perspectives and pieces of information to form a coherent understanding. Reflecting, reviewing one's own thought processes, acknowledging biases, and being open to revision. These components form a cycle rather than a linear path. By questioning, we uncover gaps; by analyzing, we examine details; by evaluating, we test soundness; by synthesizing, we build insight; and by reflecting, we refine our approach. 3. The high stakes of poor thinking. The consequences of failing to think critically are all around us. In the realm of public health, misinformation about vaccines can lead to outbreaks of preventable diseases. In finance, hasty decisions based on misleading data can wipe out savings and destabilize markets. In politics, propaganda and false claims can erode trust in institutions and fuel polarization. Consider the case of a viral social media claim suggesting that a common household item could cure a serious illness. Thousands shared the post before any credible medical authority had weighed in. Some individuals even abandoned prescribed treatments in favor of the supposed miracle cure, endangering their health. This example illustrates how the lack of critical scrutiny can have life-threatening consequences. 4. Critical thinking in everyday life. Critical thinking isn't reserved for experts or academics, it's a practical skill we use every day. When choosing a news source, we evaluate its reputation and track record. When comparing products, we read reviews and examine specifications. When engaging in debates, we weigh arguments, spot logical fallacies, and distinguish fact from opinion. Moreover, critical thinking empowers us to make better personal decisions. From budgeting our finances to planning our careers, we identify goals, gather relevant data, consider alternatives, and anticipate potential outcomes. By applying a structured approach, we reduce impulsivity and increase the likelihood of success. 5. The role of bias and emotion. Human thinking is inherently influenced by cognitive biases, systematic patterns of deviation from rationality. Confirmation bias, for example, leads us to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. The availability heuristic makes vivid or recent examples disproportionately influential. Emotional appeals can bypass logical analysis, triggering strong reactions that cloud judgment. Critical thinking requires us to recognize these biases and mitigate their effects. We do this by seeking out disconfirming evidence, slowing down our decision-making process, and asking whether our emotional responses are steering us away from objective evaluation. 6. Strengthening critical thinking skills. Developing strong critical thinking skills is a deliberate process. Here are 5 practical strategies. Ask clarifying questions. Instead of accepting statements at face value, probe deeper. What exactly is being claimed? How is the information obtained? What assumptions underlie the argument? Evaluate sources. Distinguish between primary and secondary sources. Check an author's credentials, review their track record, and consult multiple reputable outlets. Examine evidence. Differentiate between anecdotal stories and statistical data. Look for peer-reviewed studies, official reports, and transparent methodologies. Engage in thoughtful dialogue. Seek out conversations with people who hold different viewpoints. Listen actively, ask questions, and be willing to adjust your stance in light of compelling arguments. Reflect and revise. After reaching a conclusion, revisit your reasoning. Did you overlook any evidence? Are there alternative explanations? Reflection fosters continuous improvement. 7. Critical thinking in the workplace. In professional settings, critical thinking drives innovation and efficiency. Teams that think critically challenge assumptions, identify risks early, and develop robust solutions. When launching a new product, for example, critical thinkers scrutinize market research, test prototypes rigorously, and analyze customer feedback objectively. Furthermore, critical thinking enhances leadership. Leaders who question conventional wisdom, encourage open dialogue, and base decisions on sound evidence build trust and foster a culture of accountability. Such environments not only improve performance but also attract and retain top talent. 8. Navigating the digital frontier. As technology evolves, so do the challenges to critical thinking. Artificial intelligence can generate realistic but false content. Deepfake videos can mimic real people. Social media platforms can manipulate attention through addictive design. To navigate this digital frontier, we must stay informed, keep up with emerging technologies and their implications. Verify rigorously, use fact-checking tools, reverse image searches, and trusted verification services. Promote digital literacy, educate ourselves and others about the mechanics of online information, including how algorithms influence what we see. By combining critical thinking with digital literacy, we can safeguard ourselves against manipulation and make informed choices in an increasingly complex ecosystem. 9. Critical thinking is a civic duty. In democratic societies, citizens bear responsibility for the health of public discourse. Critical thinking underpins informed voting, civic engagement, and constructive debate. When we scrutinize political claims, recognize logical fallacies, and demand transparency, we hold leaders accountable and strengthen democratic institutions. Moreover, critical thinking fosters empathy. By considering multiple perspectives, we better understand the experiences of others and bridge divides. This capacity for nuanced understanding is vital for addressing societal challenges, from social justice to climate change. 10. Cultivating a culture of critical inquiry. Beyond individual efforts, we can promote critical thinking at a societal level. Educators can prioritize inquiry-based learning, where students learn to ask questions, design experiments, and evaluate results. Media organizations can adhere to rigorous journalistic standards, fact-check their reporting, and correct errors transparently. Employers can offer training programs that emphasize analytical skills and evidence-based decision-making. Community groups can host public forums where diverse voices engage in respectful debate. By embedding critical inquiry into our institutions, we create an ecosystem where truth-seeking becomes the norm. Critical thinking is not a luxury, it is a necessity. In a world awash with information, the ability to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize ideas empowers us to make sound decisions, innovate responsibly, and uphold democratic values. It helps us resist manipulation, solve complex problems, and collaborate effectively across differences. The journey to becoming a critical thinker is ongoing. It requires curiosity, humility, and the courage to question both external claims and our own beliefs. But the rewards are profound: clearer understanding, better choices, and a more resilient society. As you move forward, remember that every question you ask, every assumption you test, and every bias you challenge strengthens your ability to navigate the world wisely. Embrace critical thinking, and you'll not only transform your own life but contribute to a more informed, thoughtful, and just world. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our future content. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How will you apply critical thinking in your life? Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.